Okay, so here are all the parts for both kits on my alligator clips and my custom stand. And it took me a while to prepare this because there were so many parts for me to clean and make sure that it all fit together and which one needs to be, you know, how to classify it and all that stuff. And even after all this, I still don't have any more clips to put on the remaining parts. I have some of the colored parts here that needs to be put on, some charcoal parts here. So you know, on this side is the Lupus, the Barbatos Lupus, while on this side is the Barbatos Lupus Rex. So Rex has a lot more parts, of course, than the regular Lupus, but it shows a lot more detail here. So I have this split right here into two, so you know which one is, you know, which side is which. But I took my time getting this done so that way I can prepare and how I can map my way around this. And I'm not sad that I don't have any more alligator clips. As a matter of fact, I was actually laughing myself, saying to myself, why didn't I buy more in the last, I guess, oh, what was it? There was a sale on Hobby Link Japan for alligator clips, but I think it was something, I forgot. I just completely forgot to purchase something like that, and it would have been perfect to use that right now, especially if, you know, down the road, if I ever decide to get myself a perfect grade kit, I'm going to need those alligator clips for a perfect grade down the road. Don't ask me when, I don't know when, but that's another story. I have no problem with that, because with not having the clips, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be, right now after this, I'm going to begin priming. I'm going to prime the Rex first. And once it's dried, I'm going to use the OneShot primer black, see how this works. But once the parts dry, because I heard this thing dries really quick, I'm going to remove some of the parts that I could put to the side or put in a tray, and then apply it to that one, and then paint the standard Lupus using OneShot primer gray. So that way both of them are done. Then I will then alternate going back to the Rex and begin painting, and then back to, you know, back to the Lupus, so back and forth. Most likely I'm going to be focusing on, if I'm going to do this right, I'm probably focusing on the charcoal colors first, because that's easy to do and quick to do, and it's only just, you know, it's an internal part. In the inner frames, I'm not going to split them. I'm not going to take them apart like I used to. I'm going to paint them right there, right then and there. So that will be easy to do. Also, I was making sure that while I was doing this, I want to make sure that all the parts fit on the clips. Well, somebody asked me, how do you do this with the clips and how do you set them up? And it's pretty simple. Like, you know, something like this. Find a notch in there that you can grab. Sometimes the notches are easy, like for example, this guy right here is easy to grab, while others are a little thinner, and you gotta be careful on how to grab it. Just find a great way to hold it so you can paint it. You know, sometimes this is a little too long. I should have used a shorter one. And of course there are parts that, you know, don't have those notches, so I use a toothpick to hold it in, because usually there's a little thing there, a little canyon type notch that you could squeeze it in there and you could hold it. And even up to the point where you don't have anything like that, you could use a sticky tack to stick it in the back or in the inside of the part, and then put a toothpick in there to hold it up. I use pretty much all the sticky tacks, because I had a set of sticky tacks that actually dried out, but what that didn't dry out was the ones that I had, and I used it to hold this part, which is the actual forearm of the Rex, as you can see here. Reason why I did this is because when I paint this, I want to make sure it's all uniformed, like, not uniform, but like evenly coveraged, you know, to cover each part on all ends, so that way I don't see one side of the part a different tone color than the other side. I want to make sure it's nice and even. Don't seem to have, I don't think I'm going to have a problem like that with white, because I don't think there's such a thing as too much white and too little white, because it's technically white. It's how it comes out. I just want to make sure it's nice and even. I am kind of almost worried about this one right here because I did put I have this part holding the two parts for the forearm. But this is metallic painted version, so even that's not going to give me a problem as well. So either or, came out like that. I also have some of the smaller, delicate parts onto these, where I know it's going to be painted on one side and not the other. Specifically like the face mask, as you can see there. And of course this side here, that's the Rex, and that's the Lupus. So hopefully this will show you what I'm planning to do, what's going to happen. So give me some time to prepare so I can begin priming. Alright, so I was actually not going to film this, but let me film it anyway, because I didn't see that many people recording or doing examples of this. So I might as well do an example of the OneShot primer by MIG. It is an acrylic-based, water-based, non-toxic, primer. And right now I have my airbrush set to, I think, yeah, actually it's set very low. You can go up to 20 psi's. Let me increase it a bit. There we go. And supposedly this is a one-shot deal for this airbrush, for this primer. And since it's water-based, you can use, I believe you can use water as a thinner to thin out this water-based paint. But I'm using Tamiya's Color acrylic paint X20A. I didn't buy the brand for the acrylic thinner version of the brand. I have a decent amount, considering that I don't paint that many kits with acrylic, but apparently I'm going to need more, so I'm going to have to go to my nearest hobby store soon enough to try it out. So let's test this out and see how it looks like. We're going to use these few parts right here. Now I gave it a 50-50 coverage of the thinner. Alright, that's a good coverage of black. Nice and smooth and neat and nice. There we go. That's nice, really nice. Let's try the other one with let's try the foot. I'm sorry, the leg. It's not supposed to be glossy, it's supposed to be like a matted finish, yet I'm noticing some kind of like a blast of the paint. I don't know if I mix it right. I'm just testing this out for the first time, so the whole intention is not for this yeah, like right now this looks nice on this side, this doesn't look nice on the other side. Don't know if maybe it was a problem with my airbrush. I did clean it. Alright, let's try this one. And by the way, since this is acrylic base, there's no fumes. It has a nice, interesting, sweet smell, you could say. But I wouldn't enjoy it. I would probably, use a respirator You know what? I think I see the reasons why. Even though it's partly mixed, I see like a separation of like how the ink and maybe the thinner is separating. Maybe this is not a good choice. I don't mind it being a little glossy. I just want to make sure it has a good coverage. It's good though. I have no problem with that. It's watered down pretty nice. I don't know how much I can do, or how many parts I can do, but because I have like maybe 1/4 of a reservoir filled in. Actually, it was a little bit more. I just accidentally dropped it and wet the table here a bit. So. Oh, you know what? There's an issue here because I think there's a problem with my airbrush. Because I'm seeing it being a little too wet. Oh, yeah. It could be my fault. Now this is of course for the Rex. Remember, this is just being primed. This is not the actual part of the kit itself, but yeah, there's a lot of wetness here. I have a feeling it's going to leave a mark. I think that's alright. Let's try this next one. Yeah, wow. Comes out really nice and wet. Maybe I should put a little bit more thinner on this. I'm going to try that right now. I'll just agitate it a bit. Put a couple of drops in there. Maybe I thinned it too much. I gotta get used to the fact that this is not acrylic base. Sorry, this is not a lacquer base paint. Let's see if this works. Let's try this. Yeah, this one actually is now coming out pretty nice. Now it's good. So you have to find the right coverage for the, the right balance. If it goes on a little too wet, it'll dry. But the one thing you don't want is that blob of paint going all over the place and spreading out. You want to have it a nice even coverage. I'll let the parts dry, of course, the ones that kind of messed up. If I have to wipe it off and clean it off, I'll have to, and redo it again. But the one thing about acrylic-based paint, it is very forgiving and pretty good. Wow, that's actually really nice. All right, so that's this. I'm going to be using the black primer on all the parts on the Rex. Let me finish it up, and then we'll move on to the Lupus.